We are here at the Mahibere Kidusan first English release here at Debrahal St. Gabriel Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. Today we will be interviewing some people about what they thought about the program, if they liked the English service, and if they related to it. Could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Kasis Abai. I'm the DMV area, and I've been serving churches, especially the youth around this area, for the past almost 20 years. I would incorporate everything as an English ministry. It could be like the songs, the preachings, the teachings, the fellowships, and everything. Yeah, we definitely need to do more of that, not just because we have children right now in this generation that require us to teach them about their faith, but I believe that that's the commission or the ministry of Christ when he commanded his apostles to teach throughout the world in the language that the people understand. There is this verse in Galatians when St. Paul talks about that when he was chosen to be the disciple for the Gentiles, he said he never talked to the flesh and blood. What he means by that is he didn't sit down and, think about what that would implicate in his life, in his status, with his friends, because he was a Jew and a Pharisee. But he said that when Christ chose him for a specific purpose, which is to preach for the Gentiles and to be apostle for the Gentiles, he took it seriously, and he was committed to do that. So I would believe that it's not a coincidence. Everyone, especially when we're coming in this country, it's not just only to benefit our fleshly desires or our secular lives, right? God has a purpose for every one of us. When we are coming here, even if it's one person or just to share one message of the gospel, we are required to do that. So it's really needed, because at this moment there are a lot of Ethio-American youth and even other backgrounds that are really in need of the message of hope and the message of love, the message of uplifting and understanding and welcoming message of Christ. And there is no better opportunity or environment and platform to do that except now. So, which is I highly recommend, and I believe that it's needed for the next generation. And not to, like, I wouldn't say just to save the church, because the church will continue no matter what. But we will be asked of our talents, what we did profit out of what God gave us in this world. So yeah, it's definitely needed.
I'm Dr. Aida Girma. I am the chairperson for Mahibere Kidusan America Center.
Is this your first English CD release? If it was, how was it? Did you like it? Did you relate to it?
Yes, actually, this is the first English album for Mahibere Kidusan. Yeah, it's really, really very good. It's amazing. I mean, it's in this era. I know this should have happened maybe 20 years ago or some. So we are really late, but still, it's very amazing. Of course, I speak Amharic and I understood what I was singing, but I think I was listening to it as if I'm my daughter, because I can imagine how my daughter or other children would feel when they would see the words, and I was seeing them like when they were singing, and then I was looking at the kids and they were singing together without us telling them to do it. So in that aspect, I was really happy. But genuinely though, even if I know Amharic, I can't even explain my feeling listening.
The program from beginning to end was, I learned a lot. It was eye-opening for something I didn't even realize. Great to see the brotherly and sisterly love and hard work that went into it. But yeah, this is my first one, and I really enjoyed myself.
As you are a priest, I just wanted to ask you, what impact does it have on the youth, whether it being English hymns, English sermons, or just English liturgy in general? What impacts did you see on the youth?
It's huge impact. It seems like, I can give you an example. For example, let's say you speak Portuguese and I speak Amharic, and you only speak Portuguese, but let's say you're in a group and everyone is talking with English or Amharic and you don't hear it, whatever that they're saying. It could be about you, it could be about whatever, right? But then all of a sudden, when I start speaking Portuguese, how that makes you feel. And I've seen this even in one of the ministries. I remember one time that there was an Indian young guy who were baptized in Ethiopian Orthodox Church, and it was Easter. But the teaching, the church chants, the rituals, everything was in Amharic and in Ge'ez. So he was just sitting down, like he wanted to be part of it, but since he doesn't understand, his eyes were down. He was not focused. But during the time of partaking communion, I was given a chance to preach in English, and as soon as I start saying a few words, his eyes lit up, and he was so interested, and he was like, "Who is speaking?" And he was very engaged to learn and to know. So I would say that it's the same thing as a hearing impaired person listening for the first time, right? So, and when I was doing the church services or teaching and everything, things like that, I've seen a lot of change towards the youth and the young people. They approach me, ask me questions, personal, spiritual, theological questions. Yeah, so there's a lot of youth that want answers, genuine answers about our faith, and we have to do better and be ready for this kind of situation.
Why is it important for the church to make or provide English hymns for the youth in the church?
So it's so important because youth in America, yes, most of them can speak Amharic, can understand Amharic, but we have to face the fact that their first communication language for them for ease understanding is English. So when they hear songs in English, it relates to them directly, immediately, without necessarily analyzing like, what does it mean? Why are they saying this? Mama, can you explain this, why they're saying this? Now they don't need anything. They don't need anybody to explain to them what the song is about. And it relates to them so directly that when they sing it, they will also feel it, like that they are actually praising the Lord rather than just saying for the sake of saying. So for Ethiopian Orthodox Church or Orthodox Christian, if we are saying that we want to expand our church and our believers, unless we start using other language than Amharic, it's not going to be possible to preach those who do not understand English, do not understand Amharic. So that's the only way we can bring it. And then the other thing, obviously, is we sometimes tell our youth, like, you should listen to songs. And then we give them the Amharic song.
They don't understand.
Yeah, so it was really unfair. Now, at least we can tell them, you should listen to songs, and then here it is. And they'll say, wow, this is very nice, and they'll continue listening, yeah.
Well, the church is the voice of God. The church is, church's primary teaching is faith. And faith comes through hearing. And hearing comes through the Word of God. And the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church hymns are from the Bible. They teach the church dogma. They teach, what our fathers teach. And so if the person hearing it, if they're not understanding it because of language, then it's not hitting the goal. The goal is to grow in faith. And so to grow in faith, you have to hear the Word of God. And to hear the word of God has to be in a language that you understand, because it's something that you have to understand. So I think that it is critical to meet the church needs. And, you know, in the diaspora has grown so much that we can no longer ignore it. And we have to face it and say, hey, our brothers and sisters their needs are not being met. So Mahibere's Sunday schools have that duty to fill and help the church to fill this need, because the church has a lot of needs. It's not just here. The church has many needs. So I think that is critical for Mahibere Kidusan and other Mahiberes and Sunday schools to meet the needs of the church.
A lot of kids, they're not just raised up from one language. They can be raised up from different ones, and some they understand better than others. So I think there should be like more English albums in different languages so that more Ethiopians can understand it better.
What do you expect from us in the Mahibere Kidusan English service? What do you expect us to do in the near future? It being English hymns, English sermons, or, you know, publishing English books?
To some extent, I feel sorry for the youth because there's not a lot of, you know, resources there for them to engage, to know their faith. But it's definitely an improvement for the past 2-3 years, having different, you know, praise songs, different books translated in English, performing different rituals of the church, sacramental rites in English. So it's a very good improvement for the past, actually, I would say 5-6 years. But again, my belief is all of these things that we start doing, it's bounded only within the church community or the church environment, and it's a bit of exclusive, which means just a few people that are grown within the church will encourage to sing. It could be in English or to participate sacramental rites in English, but we have no means and platform to reach out to people that are completely new to the church, right? And those brothers and sisters, the youth, they're not introduced in the church. They are in different gatherings, different places outside of church who may do worldly things. But our commission, as Christ gave us, is to go in such kind of places and introduce them the faith instead of expecting them to come to the church and change them, right? And even in the church, sometimes it's unfortunate that we expect them not only to come to the church, but to come changed in the church. And that also needs to be changed, because church is a hospital. Church is a hospital, which means people that are sick, it could be not physical sick, but people that have despair in their life, people that are struggling with stress or you know, doubt and things like that. Those kind of spiritual sicknesses would be healed within the church. So people that have doubt or not our according type of Christian that we think of, those people should be coming into the church, and we should be able to welcome them in open arms and let them grow. And church should be a place to grow to that spiritual level that we expect them to be. Not that they should be changed and change their ways and everything and then come to the church. And I don't think Christ's mission is like that. So that's what I would expect, and eventually I would see a lot of change in the English ministry of Ethiopian Orthodox in the past 2-3 years.
So I would like to see, and even as a Mahibere Kidusan, to see more English albums, obviously, and then also books, you know, several books in Amharic, in English, Qadase liturgy in English. Yes, in some churches here and there on Saturdays, you know, there's divine liturgy in English. But that's like an additional, not necessarily the core part of the church. But I mean, in 10 years, I hope, in 5 years, let's say, I hope that a church will have English Divine Liturgy and then Amharic Divine Liturgy or Girls Divine Liturgy at the same time, so that our kids will go there and then we will be in this one and the service will be one. I hope that will be the direction where we're taking, and we will attract many other non-Ethiopians to our church, as others are also doing.
Thank you for tuning with us today at the English CD release. I hope you like the hymns that we provided. You can find these hymns on Amazon, Spotify, and also iTunes. Thank you again for joining us. If the Lord permits and we see each other again, we will see you real soon.